There and Back Again. A Fourth Doctor's Tale by Philadelphia Whovian. Guys, yes, we are now at part 2 of a ranking of all of the Fourth Doctor stories. I believe we're now doing, starting from 21 down to number 1 of his era. And these are, God... Okay, like I said before in my previous video, yeah, I love almost all of the Fourth Doctor's era. But these 21 to number 1, there's just a special place for me. And like I said about the ocean, when it comes to the Fourth Doctor's era being an ocean, we're now at the brightest, the surface of that ocean, where I saw clearly, and this is what I'm sticking with, of my favorite to the least of this section. And I admit with my number 21, it's one that people probably did not expect so high. I understand why, but it is The Invisible Enemy. Okay, guys, I understand why you do not like it. Understandable. But the idea for me, I love the brightness of it. I love the adventure of it. And I love the scope of it. Of humanity reaching out to all these different areas. The Doctor commenting on how humanity can be a good thing or a bad thing. Because it can trample other civilizations. I love the introduction to K9. I love how Leela was right at the end. She's like, Doctor, we should have blown the entire thing up. And it turns out she gets rejected by the swarm because she's not intelligent. She's pure instinct. But see, that instinct, it turned out, that instinct proved to be the key to everything. And not because she's a plot device or anything, it's just her natural core setup, showing that there's something to be said for instinct sometimes. And that's what I like about that. It's like the Doctor insults her and says you're a savage, but look what happened. She was right about everything. She actually was. And that's a cool concept of the Doctor, like, you know, admitting it's like, yeah, I'm right and I'm smart, I'm superior to you for being intelligent. At the same time, it's like he has to rely on Leela for so many things. He really does. And the idea of the swarm spreading itself to survive. I like that element as well. I also like the design of things. Again, I like the brightness of a lot of the Fourth Doctor's era, as I do with the Third Doctor's era a great deal. I just do. Can't explain it more. Then we have, next one up, we have The Deadly Assassin. Okay. This story is, for me, absolute perfection. And I know some people anew who criticized the Moffat era for the painting Time Lords to be these corrupt, devious people, and they completely forget that was the point. Robert Holmes specifically did not want the Time Lords to be these angelic, idealistic alien creatures. He wanted them to be as corrupt as any other society they could be. And god darn is it shown in The Deadly Assassin. And the actor who they got to play the voice of the Master was just menacing. Even when he had this mask, he found a way of doing it and being very clear and articulate and acting through that mask. The mask was scary. That was cool. Going to the Matrix and the Doctor fighting the other politician, that was cool. That was very good casting. Also, the guy that he fought, who does a lot of Doctor Who roles in Classic Who, was very good as well. Robert Holmes is on top form with this story. The only thing that holds it down for me is the casting of Castellan. Okay, the actor who played Castellan, I saw him in another story. He was absolutely incredible of Doctor Who. He was clear, he was articulate, he was very emotional in the sense that he was very good at expressing himself as well as, you know, inflecting. Then he's in this. And I cannot understand half or 75% of the things he's saying. And I'm like, I know you. I've seen you before. You speak even with that accent. Yes, because showing how much accents have nothing to do with it. It's all about enunciating and inflecting. And I'm like, I know you can inflect and enunciate. And that's what people like say, oh, you make me feel insecure because of an accent. No, I have seen plenty of actors who had thick accents in real life, and they still had them on film, and they were not inferior to anyone. They showed how it doesn't matter what accent you have. It's all about doing your job as an actor and being vocally clear. You see, people... Okay, I've had this before. People are like, oh, you make me feel insecure with my accent by talking about sometimes people not being articulate. As an American, I've met many Americans, and I've been that American where I was not articulate, but I'm a writer. We suck at speaking. But if I was an actor, it would be my job to get over my problems as a speaker and always be clear. It doesn't matter what country you come from. all actors are equal in the sense that you have to be clear. And the Castellan, it could have been the director who gave him the bad direction. Either way, he was not on top form here. And if I can't understand and comprehend one of the leading characters who has a lot of good dialogue that's necessary to understand, it's going to hold it down for me. If only the actor was directed better, I would appreciate it. That's the only thing that holds it down for me. And I am not attacking anyone for, again, this is not about the accent. It's just about being clear. It doesn't matter what accent you have. I believe no matter what accent you have or where you come from, you are equally talented or have the ability to be equally as talented as any actor from any place. I am not being derogatory. I am not attacking or ridiculing anyone. I actually am thinking no matter where you come from, you have in you to be equally as talented and clear as anybody else. And I'm sticking to it. Next we have is Lagavulin. Oh, okay. People say with the Fourth Doctor's last season, people say it was a waste of a season. As you've seen with the East Space Trilogy, I don't believe that, but especially when it comes to Lagavulin. Okay, this story is so intelligent, has so much thought behind it, and it just does so many incredible things, and I'm okay with the fact that the Doctor dies, not by being killed by a monster, but just by falling. That's all it is, he falls. I'm okay with that. It doesn't always have to be a big beast that kills the Doctor. It's a very unique thing. People say it's a pathetic ending. I'm like, no, it's just different. I'm okay with that. I really am. But, an idea of Trojan just being, and planets being wiped away from these, galaxies and solar system, etc. and so forth. And then Trojan gets lost in there, and then Nyssa has to watch it. And then also Tegan losing her aunt. And all these things, it's just you got characters who go through this trauma and have to just deal with it. That is incredible to me. Next we have the Hand of Fear. I know some people don't like this story. I'm okay with it. I know there's but that's just the way that things have fallen for me. I absolutely love this story. And then the hand, and it turns out I've been exposed to radiation, and then turns into this character. Turns out it was a male character the entire time who used Sarah Jane Smith as a blueprint, and it's in a story that the action just kept coming. Like, it was very well paced, and I loved the way, of course when I say well paced, there were sometimes moments of a lot of dialogue, but again, it was paced properly. I'm fine with there being a lot of dialogue as long as it's paced properly, and I'm okay with the Hand of Fear. I know some people don't like it, but I just do. Next we have up from the East Space Trilogy again, the last entry in the first story of the trilogy, Full Circle, where we get Adric. I know a lot of people do not like Adric, but does not stop me from loving this story. And the monsters in it, that was some very good design there. And again, another story that is very, very well paced, well shot, well lit, well directed, overall well acted. And I just like the look of it. I'm happy we're not in another quarry for the majority of this story at all. So no, I actually very much I like the idea and the creation of East Space itself. And the idea of, Romana being ordered to go back to Gallifrey, but she's against it. And the Doctor has to admit, hey, you gotta go back. She's like, well, you ran. He's like, I lost. So deep. It's just so, God, I freaking love this story. I love this trilogy. Next we have up another controversial pick, Destiny of the Daleks. Okay, I know some people say this story is ridiculous and ludicrous. I cannot agree. I love the idea of the Movellans fighting the Daleks, two people at a logical impasse, and therefore they created peace by accidentally being in that logical impasse. And then the Daleks having to go back and get Davros so he can reprogram them because they can't win this battle because they're just too robotic. They need another element to it. So, and also this story, while Genesis of the Daleks gets credit for having the first appearance and creation of Davros, this gets credit for bringing him back. Because of this story, Davros is brought back. This is a good thing. This really is. So we owe Destiny of the Daleks, and the dialogue between the Doctor and Davros is so cool in this. I like it. And we see Romana regenerating, and she chews her body, and also she regenerates, and it's like, we see like 5 different things, like she literally has the ability to control how she looks when she's regenerating, and it's like 5 different women she changes into before it's like, we're gonna give in and allow you to be look like the princess from the Armageddon Factor, which was a really cool idea to do. And I like the idea of Romana choosing what she looks like, but every time she regenerates into a female Time Lord, a Time Lady, which will come into play later in one of my other videos about idea of genders when it comes to Doctor Who. But that is not for this video, thank God. So I do not hate this story. Next one we have up is The Sunmakers. Okay, this is a title that does not really do much for what the actual story is about, but I still like that title anyway. Oh God, I love this story. It's just taxes. It's about taxes. Literally, it's like, think of the American Revolution being put into an alien planet, and the idea of taxes like being astronomical, etc. and so forth, and the people having to rise up and rebel. It pretty much is. Like, I know this really written by Robert Holmes having a problem with paying taxes himself, and he hated it, but it really does cover, you know, the idea of the revolution itself that happened over taxes. And then Leela and the Doctor separated, and you just see the beautiful, like, just Leela just loving to be a warrior, and then just being as amazing as always, and the Doctor being upset when she got captured and going in to save her as well. The villain is absolutely despicable and fun. And I love how this goes to show you how in Classic Who, they did not give a darn about not only politically correct stuff, but they just had balls. Where at the end of it, where they take the collector, tax collector, whatever he is, I forget what his title was, and the people just pick him up and throw him off of the building. And it's a happy moment. They literally throw, and he falls down so many miles probably. It's just like, whoa. They didn't care at all, and that is so cool to me. That it's like, we don't care about your feelings and be like, oh, the heroes always have to, you know, turn the other cheek. No, it's like, you're evil. We're throwing you off of the building. End of story. Praise the company. And also the idea of Pluto having all these suns around it so the planet does not get cold. It's just creative. Love it. Next we have up, I'm sorry, this is not number 1. I like this story. I love this story. Every story on this list I love. This is where it fell. Genesis of the Daleks. I love this story. Love, love, love it. I just don't go back and rewatch it as much as the ones that are on the you know, that come before on this list. I mean, after on this list when it comes to 1 through up to this. That's all it is. But I do overall really love this story. I love that, you know, again, we see first see Davros for the first time, and the creation of the Daleks, and the moral dilemma of the Doctor with this one, etc. and so forth, and the Time Lord sending the Doctor around, and just the idea, the look and the direction of this is also very good as well. And you see the experiments, the failed experiments that Davros had in the caves, and then how the Thals and the Khalids/Daleks, their war with each other. It did a lot of really cool things. It's a darn good setup. It's a good story, and I'm happy it exists. It is a beautiful thing. I understand why some people think it's overrated, but I love it. Next we have up is from The Key to Time, the first story, The Rebus Operation, or Rebus Operation. I forget how it's pronounced, always. From The Key to Time, The Rebus Operation. Oh my God, we get the White Guardian in this great opening. We of course still have K9 in this, and then we have Romana for the very first time. I love their witty banter. And again, this is what I mean by a dialogue-heavy story that I love. This is a story that is told mostly through dialogue. Mostly through it, but I never feel like it loses pacing. It's just so unique. Such good storytelling. It really is very good world building. And the Doctor, okay, I love how, again, no apologies. The Doctor, okay, the villain, who is a fantastic villain because he's just so disgusting, ruthless, and despicable, kills a woman, the soothsayer, in front of the 4th Doctor. And the 4th Doctor actually does a slight leisure man, like quickness of hand, and he puts the bomb in the guy's pocket, and the guy walks away and blows up as he's walking away. The doctor placed a bomb on someone, blew it up, and he just clapped and smiled after that. He was not like, oh, I killed someone, I'm a terrible person. No. This guy killed people, then killed a woman right in front of him. He's like, I'm not going to apologize for this. I killed you. Ha. Whatever. I like that. It's like, dude, I'm not going to cry over the fact that I had to kill a bad guy. I don't believe in violence, but at the end of the day, I believe in self-defense. And I do believe in justice. See, you can do both those things. You can be merciful, but still believe in justice at the same time. You don't have to do one or the other. You can find that fine line between both and just connect them. I do. And this is controversial because the next one up is one that people think is the worst of this season, and I'm probably held to so many people as being awful for placing this above the Ripes operation. It's just, guys, it's who I am, and it was The Power of Kroll. I love this story. Again, another story of good pacing. Robert Holmes did a good job directing it and doing world building. The idea of the key being in Kroll, and that's why Kroll got so big. And once he activated it, then the Kroll disappeared because now they have the other component to the key to time. It's so well paced. It's so an idea of of not abusing natives or the environment, but not beating us over the head with it. And again, as a writer, this story has helped me so very much. And the design of Kroll, the idea when you see Kroll breaking the refinery, and then you see his tentacles inside of the factory at the same time, it's just so darn good to me. That's just where it is. I make no apologies about that. That's just where it fell. Next one up we have my favorite from this collection. And I know it's going to be scandalous because no one ever thinks it's the best, but I just do. The Stones of Blood. Okay, this was a good use of environment, of atmosphere. The story was a beautiful earth-based story of the stones, and the professor, she is awesome. And the idea of this person, masquerading, this alien who is a criminal, masquerading as a god, was a character to be worshipped, and then sending her Ugri out to kill people for, in case they don't bring sacrifices, and just draining blood out of people. And then all of a sudden the story changes, and now we're at a trial. And the doctor puts on a wig that he just happens to have on him. I like the story just goes from one area to the next like that, and then we're in hyperspace. On top of that, like I said before, I like when the story can switch gears and go to a different location than you thought it was going to before. It shows a fluidity of storytelling, an organic storytelling. But like I said before, of being a writer is like being like water with Doctor Who. Got to be able to flow to different places in different ways, and I like that. That's just me though, but I'm okay with it. Next we have The Talons of Wing Chiang. I know some people think this story is a wee bit racist, but honestly, in this time period, people called them the Chinese. They did. That was just a term for it, the Chinese. And also, when it comes to the idea of casting a non-Asian actor to play an Asian character, there are not many. This is Doctor Who in this time period on a budget. They couldn't always find the right actors to do things, or even actors who were eligible to do things. But I just cannot be sensitive with this story. I understand if you're sensitive, but that will not stop me from seeing the genius of this story. It was terrifying. It was gorgeous. It was just, again, great idea. Robert Holmes is just so unique in the things he does and thinks about to a large extent. I never get bored watching this story. I think it's awesome. Next we have a story that I don't hear a lot of people talk about, but I love. The Face of Evil. The introduction to Leela. Oh my god, I freaking love this story. The idea of the Seva team coming from, or being descendants of the survey team who went out, and then there's the Tesh, and then you have the idea of, in terms of people who stayed on the ship, they have now become this, people who are all about, intellectualism to the point where they're barbaric themselves. And has been one of my favorite Fourth Doctor quotes about, the problem with stupid people is they don't alter, their views to fit the facts, they alter the facts to fit their views. And I love Leela immediately. I love her with the doctor and the idea of the doctor who was here before and he thought he was helping, but turned out but if he cut the bit of himself in the computer and it just manifested itself, and now it's just this horrible, horrible, horrible thing that is kind of tearing apart this planet in some ways because it puts tribe against tribe. It's just, for me, it's a really darn good story. I love it, actually. So, I disagree with people. I think it's great. Next we have up is The Horns of Neyman, or Neiman. Oh my gosh, what a good story. It's just awesome. I think it's a very underrated story, too. It really is very, very, very underrated. And I absolutely love it. Love the Doctor and Romana in it. Once again, the idea of Neiman himself, or Neyman himself. The pacing is absolutely excellent. It's very unique. Darn good storytelling. That's all I gotta say about it. Next we have is The Seeds of Doom. If you have not seen this already, see it. It's a perfect story. It really is. Action, adventure, earthbound story, or earth-based story is a better term for it. Idea of pods coming down onto the planet, and then turns out when they get the human skin, they turn the humans into plant life. And then you got this guy the villain who wants to preserve plant life, but doesn't care two craps at all about humanity, but he cares about plants, and he's absolutely insane. But the actor they got is absolutely perfect. I mean, he just nails the insanity so very well. It's almost like spellbinding to watch him. The Doctor and Sarah Jane Smith are awesome in this. Then you have another character I love. Remember how I like the Professor in The Stones of Blood? I love the older woman in this. These just batty old women who are so brave and will put themselves in danger just to help solve the problem. It's so cool. So very cool. And then it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. When it comes to the storytelling, my God, what a good story. Perfection. Next we have Terror of the Zygons. I'm still amazed I have this story. It took me 3 years to get this story, like 3 years. Alright, but Terror of the Zygons, oh my gosh, what a good story. It's just so good. It's eerie. It works with the environment. The Doctor, Sarah Jane Smith, and Harry are walking with the Doctor to meet the Brigadier, and they're all wearing the Doctor's clothes. Like, they're all wearing parts of the Doctor's clothes. Show how much they've connected. And there were just scenes of this that are just so well shot, because they bring ease of the tension. Like when Harry Sullivan, you got the Zygon version of Harry Sullivan, and he's hiding in the barn, and Sarah Jane Smith comes up the ladder to see him, and he's half in darkness, and it's so eerie. And then he tries to jab her with a pitchfork, and he falls off, and he dies. And the idea of Loch Ness being in here as well, and that's how these refineries or factories are falling, even though they were attached to concrete. What a good story. And we also see the Brigadier. Is this like the last time we see the Brigadier in the Fourth Doctor's era? Either way, by God, do I love the Brigadier. Actually, though, and fun thing, if you can go online here on YouTube, there is a beautiful tribute to the Brigadier. I think it's called a tribute to the Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart, Holding Out for a Hero. You know the song Holding Out for a Hero by Bonnie Tyler? Oh my God. Or the song I Need a Hero. Either one's the title, something like that. But either way, go look at that video. It's the best tribute video to the Brigadier there's ever been. But I love this story. Love it so much. Now we have a story that I often don't see too much love for, but it's a perfect story. Sorry. Horror of Fang Rock. This story scares the crap out of me, but luckily the Fourth Doctor and Leela are there to help me be so much less afraid every time. Thank you two for being such good forces, because you keep the fear, at bay. I know that some people don't find it overrated because the Rutans are just not well realized in how they look. I can overlook that very easily. They're shapeshifters, and the story's all we need. I love Leela in this when she just slaps the woman who's screaming, and then she threatens to kill the guy for not listening to the Doctor, and the Doctor just smiles when she does this and says, "Well, you heard her." Politically incorrect. I love it. Freaking love that story. Next we have Image of the Fendal. I wish I owned this story so much. I wish I owned this story so much. I literally go online every day and pray to see that someone is selling their used copy. That's how good this thing is. Leela and the Doctor, oh my god. I love them so freaking much. Yeah, I love them so freaking much scary, weird face going on. Love them so freaking much. This story is perfect. End of story. That's all it is. It's a perfect story. Just is. Next we have, I think we're going down to our top 3, and that is The Robots of Death. Another story that is freaking perfect. I'm not going to say anything more about it. If you have not seen it, see it. It's perfect. It is. It's perfect. There. What? I'm not going to say anything more about it. It just is. Number 2, we have The City of Death. Another story I tried to own for over 2 years, and now I finally have it. This story, oh my god. Words cannot describe how perfect this story is. This story is incredible. Like, one of the greatest things I've ever seen. Brings the idea of a crack in time. Also the idea of echoes of a character being the villain, being scattered all throughout the, the universe, or not universe, or the Earth's history. And also, Scaroth is a great, great villain. The idea of the Mona Lisa is all being real, but also being fake. And since that, they have the words, this is a fake on them, but they are technically real, because Leonardo did paint them. The pacing is absolutely wonderful. The Doctor and Romana are great together. I have no idea how this woman can wear her outfits. They always look so perfect on her, but they will look like crap on the rest of us. Damn you, Romana, too? Damn you. But it's also a well-directed story. You could tell the director did something I think that's wonderful for actors. He didn't really direct them. He just let them do the characters and be the characters and play the characters the way they wanted to play them. And you can see that comfort with the way they are being presented. I love the 4th Doctor. This is like, I love your butler. He's so violent. I love you, 4. I just love you so very much. But again, another perfect story. And then with Dudgeon, who's always punching things and bashing through windows, and then he punches Scaroth, and then the 4th Doctor's like, that might be the most important punch in all of history. So good. Number 2 for greatest story is City of Death. And if you did Process of Elimination, you now know my number 1, and that is Shada. Yes, I own Shada. I had no idea this story would be this awesome. I just remember sitting there watching this story, and I was like, I had no idea it was going to be this awesome. I was just happy to get it to say I got it. This story was so awesome. I'm shocked how awesome it was. I can't get over how awesome this story was. Dear God, this story was awesome. And it was unaired for the longest time. I mean, to think that I am in the generation that saw this story for the first time ever released. Because it was unaired because there was the writer's strike or something of that nature, or strikes at the BBC, I don't know what it was exactly. There was a strike. And so this was not fully finished, but there were things that were shot and were directed. And I love how this story seamlessly goes from live action to animation. Live action to animation. That's another thing. I saw some people criticize the animation for this. This is the best animation that BBC has ever done for a Doctor Who story. Because here's the problem with a lot of the animation when it comes to this, Doctor Who. The animation is like primal at its best, where my problem with Power of the Daleks is whoever just did it. I'm like, I give you credit thank you so much for doing the artwork in animation, but the characters are all moving like this. It captures no energy, no life. Everybody looks dead in the eyes a lot. It clearly is not how Patrick Troughton performed at all. And the colors, nothing about the colors helps it feel three-dimensional or adds atmosphere at all. Everything is just very bland to look at. It just doesn't give you that much atmosphere all the time. And also something that this does that Power of the Daleks did not do. The camera moves. Like, whoever directed the animation for this, every now and again would move the camera, or like tell the animation artist, I'm going to move the camera over here. I mean, he's not moving the camera. But when you do the artwork, design in a way that obviously the scene is moving. In each single frame of the animation, there's always some movement to make you feel like some action is happening. Like, there's this one moment where the fourth Doctor is on his, like, laying down because he's repairing something, and his leg moves. Showing, like, whoever did the animation clearly studied Tom Baker, saw how Tom Baker moves, and also they put animation into the character's eyes, but there was always some type of activity happening in the animation instead of just a lot of dead space and people talking, and it being dead space. The lighting was so good. There was one bit of the animation that was just about the camera was going down a hallway in the ship, and the lighting was beautiful, but you just felt the tension rising. That was never in any of the previous animation, where it was helping develop atmosphere. It was so well shot, and then the things that were red. In fact, the monsters that were like made of crystals in the animation was perfect with. It even did it better than the live action because it really brought atmosphere. It would show them in shadows. It was so well done. I think it's some of the best animations ever been because it tried to put action and activity in every shot, even if it's just the characters turning their heads and blinking. There was always something going on to hold your attention. And at the end, where they brought Tom Baker back to do the very last scene, this story, I forget who wrote it. This story was incredible. I would recommend going out and buying it. I thought it was just that awesome. So guys, you've now seen my ranking of the Fourth Doctor's stories. And sorry this video went on longer than I expected it to. And thank you so much guys for just sticking it out. But what is your ranking of your top favorite Fourth Doctor stories, or your ranking of all the Fourth Doctor stories? It is fun to think about. And I admit, my list, of course, was totally different than yours. That's just the way it is. We are all subjective by nature. There's no way we're going to always have the same list. That's just impossible. And that's what makes it cool. There's no right or wrong, ever, when it comes to this, because it's each to his own. But the one thing we can, I think, agree on is the Fourth Doctor era is a special time in Doctor Who. It has got to be my favorite era, or one of my favorite eras of Doctor Who, and I'm proud of it. We are Fourth Doctor fans, people. Say it loud. And we're proud. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hope to see you again very, very, very soon. I might even be talking about the 13th Doctor's era. We'll see. We'll see. Bye, guys. Thanks for stopping by.